The Lost Melody. In the heart of Nairobi, Kenya, a city pulsing with life and sound, a young boy named Cairo was born into a modest family. His mother, a schoolteacher, and his father, a mechanic, did their best to make ends meet. From an early age, Cairo showed an unusual gift for music. His voice was smooth like honey, and his fingers danced across any instrument they touched. Whether it was the hum of the matatus, public buses, or the melodies of street vendors calling out their goods, Cairo soaked it all in, shaping his world with rhythm and melody. As a child, Cairo spent hours at a local community centre, where he learned to play the piano and guitar. He idolized Kenyan music icons like Sauti Sol and dreamt of one day hearing his own songs on the radio. His friends at school would gather around during breaks to hear him sing, often cheering him on as he composed lyrics on the spot. Cairo's talent was undeniable, and everyone believed he was destined for greatness. His parents, however, were practical people. They encouraged his passion, but made it clear that school was his priority. They hoped he would become a lawyer or an engineer, someone who could lift their family out of their humble life in Kibera, one of Nairobi's largest informal settlements. Cairo understood their hopes, but quietly held on to his own dream of being a musician. As he entered senior high school, Cairo received a scholarship to a prestigious institution on the wealthier side of town. It was here that his world started to change. He was suddenly surrounded by students from affluent families, driving expensive cars and wearing designer clothes. His humble beginnings made him feel out of place, and in his struggle to fit in, Cairo began to drift away from his old friends and his music. Among his new schoolmates was a group of wealthy boys who were known for their wild parties and rebellious behavior. They flaunted their money and freedom, living life with no regard for consequences. Cairo was drawn to them, especially when they started to invite him to their exclusive gatherings. The thrill of being part of something that felt important and different from his simple life was intoxicating. One of the boys, Malik, was especially influential. His family owned a string of businesses in Nairobi, and he seemed to have everything: money, connections, and a carefree life. Malik introduced Cairo to a world of late-night parties, expensive alcohol, and eventually, drugs. At first, it was just a joint passed around during a party, something harmless. But as the weeks went by, the casual fun began to spiral. Soon, Cairo found himself not only using drugs, but also becoming a dealer. Malik's friends had connections, and the money they made from selling to other rich kids at school was too tempting for Cairo to resist. The rush of quick cash, coupled with his need to maintain his new lifestyle, made it easy to justify his choices. His grades began to slip, and the guitar he once carried everywhere gathered dust in a corner. His parents noticed the change but couldn't quite figure out what was wrong. Cairo had become distant, his once sparkling eyes now dulled by late nights and drug use. The community centre where he used to practice his music had long been forgotten, and his dreams of becoming a musician were buried under layers of guilt and confusion. One evening, after a particularly rowdy party, things took a turn for the worse. The police raided Malik's house, and Cairo, along with a few others, was caught with drugs in his possession. It was a wake-up call he hadn't expected. His parents were devastated, their trust in him shattered. His mother cried for days, and his father, usually a man of few words, simply couldn't look him in the eye. Cairo was expelled from school and faced legal charges. Yet, instead of learning from his mistake, he dug himself deeper into the world of drugs. After the arrest, Malik vanished from the scene, and Cairo found himself at the center of a new drug ring. The quick money, the power, and the respect he earned from Nairobi's underworld soon turned him from a small-time dealer into a notorious drug lord.